today, and I'm here with nobody. Yeah, literally nobody showed up. I begged, I pleaded, I went on my knees, I beseeched them, I asked them with all my heart and soul to come to be here with the fans and me so I could have at least one conversation this week. But apparently, they're all busy doing things that are significantly less important than this. I'm pretty sure. So here I am by myself. I'm gonna ramble for as long as it takes until I can't ramble about anything anymore, and we'll see how this goes. So yeah, I guess I'll start with what I did this week, as the person behind the camera goes ahead and does some setup here. But anyways, yeah, this week. Hold on. What's going on here? We're live. Oh my gosh, we're live. That's crazy.
I had no idea. I missed it.
Okay, well that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
If the live chat wants to ask any questions,
Yeah,
they
sure,
can
I'll find the link.
they can go ahead and ask some questions remotely because there's 3 random viewers on here right now, so we can see what's going on. But anyways, I guess I'll start with my week this week. This week, I basically had no work to do, which was pretty fantastic. That's a lie. It's not that I didn't have any work to do. I just didn't have any exams to do, which makes it a lot easier for me to get a lot of my work done. So I was able to, get a little bit of a head start on the homework, except that didn't really help because no one knew how to do the homework. So despite getting a head start, I was still behind. Then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was just grinding on P sets. It was particularly awful. I also had a huge concert this week. I played at the commencement, or the inaugurational concert of the new president here at MIT. I played at their big concert. So you can go on the MIT page and YouTube page and go look at me play the saxophone, play a couple few cool notes or whatever, did that. And then right after that, I went to a soiree, which is a dance, a formal type thing. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit later. I think the setup was fantastic. I think all the people involved who got that done were doing a really good job with that, so that was good. And then today, what did I do today? I feel like I actually just didn't do much today. I ran a Bible study. I worked on some P-set stuff, and yeah, so I'm here. I guess it's kind of hard to talk by yourself, but I guess what I could talk about was on my other YouTube channel page, Ezekiel Day. If anyone wants to go check it out, I posted a couple of videos about like me thinking philosophically about life, but also before that, I made a few videos about making it to MIT and some of the stuff that I did when I was on the grind and still a try-hard in high school. And from that, I have a bunch of people who email me here or there asking me questions about how they could also make it to college. And I remember when I first started getting these emails, I'd email back giving like all these precise and exact advice about the things I did in high school. And I'd be like, oh, you should try and do this, you should try and do this. And I was giving pretty good advice. Here or there, I'd maybe maybe not edit, but like give suggestions on essays and read them and talk about things that I learned from doing the process myself and making to a bunch of cool schools. But I've just realized how much I've changed since I've came to this school. Like this morning, I was going through the emails, which I hadn't done in a while because I completely forgot I had this whole email page set up where people email me. And I was reading them, and I was just thinking to myself, like, how futile I was. Like, how, like, small my scope of the world was when I was in high school. Like, I used to think that grades were literally everything in the entire world. I'm grinding so I can make it to this fantastic school. I can do all these crazy things once I get here, and I'm going to learn all these awesome stuff. I'll continue to thrive and succeed. But then I actually did come here, and it's just very interesting how much your perspective changed when you actually start like getting into the real world and seeing how people interact with the world, how you interact with the world, how things that you do affect other people, and all sorts of different things. So I was just surprised that this morning when I was emailing people back, rather than talking about like, oh, you should grind out all of this stuff, you should do all of this work, you should try and get everything done possible that exists under the sun just so you can make it into this school. Instead, I think the advice I gave was more of just like thinking about what you want to be in life. Like, think about who you want to become. Like, who do you want to, like, when you die, what do you want people to say at your funeral? Like, what do you want people to think of you as? What do you want to remember? Like, a P set, like a homework assignment, is not going to last more than a week. Like, a week later, it's gone. Like, you've forgotten about it. It's over. You're on to the next one. You're doing the new thing. Like, work is always continuous. It's always coming. Like, you're going to continue doing work. But the question is, like, what things do you do that a week later they still matter to you, or like a month later they still matter to you, or like 2 months or 3 months? Like when you leave college or you leave high school and you look back and you think to yourself, what were the things I did in high school? Like I'm not thinking about like that one AP US history assignment I wrote. I'm thinking about the people I talked to in that class. I'm thinking about the teacher I had. I'm thinking about like all those days at school where I like said hello to someone, or I got to do an extracurricular activity. So those are a lot of the things that I think are quite important because they have a lasting impact on you. So I guess the advice I gave now was that you should focus on doing the things that have lasting impacts. Like you should never like live your life being like thinking about like, oh, I wasted all these years just like going through the motions every single day. Like it's just on repeat of the same things over and over and over again. You should think about like, who do you want to be? Like what kind of goals can you set up that lead you to become the person that you want to be, the person that you want to die as, the person that you want to see yourself in as in the future. And we start taking steps to do that and like goals to do that, then you start to actually progress into the things that you want to be. Like people often think like, oh, once I get this education, once I have enough money, once I have this, then I can start pursuing my goals. But the truth is like there's always a continuous cycle. Like you're never gonna be good enough to like start and achieve your goals. Like especially if you're relying on like, okay, I need to make like a certain amount of money before I can start doing things. It's like, what, like that's like, will that even ever come? Like it's just like an endless cycle because like once you have that much and you're worrying about other things that you have to deal with. It's like if you want something to happen, like you have to start doing things right now. Just like decide like I want this to happen. I want these goals to happen. I want these things to happen, and you have to just go for it. I guess that's like become cliche advice, but I think very rarely people read these things and actually act upon them, like actually do the things that they like want to do. Like if you want to travel the world or something, like there are ways to do it. Like you can always make room and time for the things that are important to you. Like people always like they fill their time with like useless stuff. They're just like, oh, I'll work for 15 hours on like this one thing when like you got the most of the work done in the first couple hours and the rest of it is just you trying to make yourself feel better about working on it for hours and hours more. Like you have to like, if you want something to get done, like you can make room for it. So I just think it's very interesting how different my perspective is now. Like even doing this podcast is like, I wanted to do something where I felt like I actually created something, actually made something that like people could listen to, maybe learn a couple things from, laugh a few times. I want an opportunity to talk with friends on the weekends, which apparently is not a possibility because no one is actually able to go talk for an hour on a Sunday. But I want that opportunity to just talk with people and get to know people more, as JP would say, to have one-on-ones, to learn about people's lives. And so I've made time for it. Like I try and make time to get the opportunity to just talk to people and get to know people better, understand how people operate, and also hopefully inspire, like, give knowledge to make people laugh, all of you guys, through this podcast. So that's like one thing that I've done that it's pushed me in the direction of the person I want to be in the future. And I plan to do more of those things. Like I was just thinking about today, like certain business things I could set up. Like what could I do that will give me some amount of financial freedom that will allow me to like donate money to charities. Like that's something that I've always thought like would be a great idea. Like a lot of times people think to themselves like, oh, I want to help people, so I'm going to go work at a soup kitchen for a couple of hours or something. And although that's like a fairly good and noble thing, I think the amount of people you can help in a soup kitchen in an hour, if you make a certain amount of money within that amount of time and you were to donate all of that money in that time to like some kind of resource place, the chances are like your money would probably go further than the amount of people that you could help in that like period of time. So like I've always wanted the opportunity to be like, okay, like I really want to help these people out, but I don't have like the financial freedom to do that. So like having the opportunity to do things like that would be I think would be really epic. So I'm planning to like see how can I start setting up businesses that would give me some of that financial freedom. Like I want to be able to leave college and not have to think so hard like, oh, I need to get this job as soon as I graduate from college or else I'm literally screwed. Like I want to be able to say like, okay, I have some money in the bank right now. Like I have time to decide what I want to do. Like I have time to like, I don't have to just go straight to the corporate world and just be another person working at a desk, another cog in the machine that could be easily replaced. Like I want the opportunity to be like, okay, I'm going to work here because I think it's fun and entertaining and not because I have to do it. I think that'd be a good place to be. But these are all like dreams and fantasies I have. But if I start taking goals to move in that direction, I think that's really how you like start going places.
May I ask what sparked the shift in perspective?
Yeah, what sparked the shift in my perspective? I don't know. I think it was just going through life. Like, I think last semester really started to hit me because after my first year at MIT, I was just grinding, doing work, but like I still had opportunity to hang out with friends because all of us like shared our classes together. But then as soon as like that support system left, I was just left just grinding out work for hours and hours and hours. And slowly but surely, I just started talking to people less and less and less. And then eventually, it's just like you're working all the time, and then a week goes by, you don't know what happened, you don't remember what you did in that week. Oh, hello, you're here. That's crazy.
Nice. Oh, you didn't ask.
I did.
It totally did ask. Yeah, she totally definitely did ask.
Wait, you said you were on Romans. Wait, my bad. Wait.
Okay, I guess I'll continue on my spiel. Now that Brittany's here, we can actually diversify our topics rather than me going through my entire life story. But yeah, I think that once I came to this year, I wanted to make a change with like how I was living my life. Like I didn't want it to just be like, because if I live my life the way that I'm inclined to do it, just like based off of like the way like I've learned to deal with the world and my perspective on how like things get done, I just constantly work. So I think it just ended up being that for years of my life, I just keep working and working and working, but never actually feel fulfilled in the things I was doing. And I don't think that's the path I want to go. Like I actually want to make a lasting impact on the people around me, and I don't think you can do that if you're just sitting in your room working on an assignment or anything like that. So I think it's important that I had that shift in perspective. It's like, okay, like no matter what, I'm gonna work. Like that's not something that I struggle with. Like I grind all the time, so it's just like if you give me work, I'll get it done. But what I won't make priority for is actually like doing things that I think will actually help me push the image of the person that I want to be when I leave here, the person I want to be when I'm much older. So I've started to make priority in the steps of becoming that person. And also conversations I've had with like Jaden and Jonathan, I think also help with that. Just like thinking about like how like even the stuff I do here, it gives me the opportunity to like pick up skills that I can use, that even if I don't particularly use like the actual knowledge I use like from classes in physics or electrical engineering, some of the skills I actually gain, or the fact of just graduating here would open up a lot of opportunities for me to like get the opportunity to do things I want to do. Like I would love to become an author someday, write a book. I would like to have my own business. I think that'd be great. And learning how to just work hard and learning a bunch of different skills, I think all help lead in that direction. So yeah.
Is it my turn to share my life story now?
If you'd like.
What was the question?
Oh, well, basically I was talking about how I've had a shift in perspective. Like from in high school, like I always thought that like getting into a good college was like the main priority. And then even when I came here, it was a lot about just like grinding out, getting good grades, getting a lot of like work done and stuff. But I think I've had a shift in perspective where I now realize that like the things that are important are not necessarily the grades and stuff, but it's also, I think it's more important like the knowledge you learn, the skills you pick up, but then most importantly, decide like even just like writing down like I don't know what they're called, like your pledge, like your goal, like what do you want to be, like who do you want to be, and like taking steps to actively do that. Like when you can like visualize like, okay, I want to be this person, like, and you start acting and doing the things that you want to get in that direction, I think you get farther off. So person behind the camera was asking me what caused that change in perspective.
Gotcha. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna get my jacket. Oh.
Okay, you have another question, person behind the camera?
Yeah, so I guess with that, I don't have any questions.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay,
yeah.
well I can think of an answer to that first one then. I think I never really had a set outlook of what I wanted whenever I came here. All I knew is that I wanted to come here because it was the best for what I wanted to study.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really have like an image of what I actually wanted to do, whereas I think now I do have kind of an image of what I want to do. Firstly, I don't necessarily have to be, like a millionaire or, be a CEO of something, but I definitely still want to be a part of a project or a company that does things that change people's lives in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like my main desire from life. And then, I guess if if you go on like the monetary front. I do want to live comfortably, and I want to be able to give my kids and like people that I care about the life that I really couldn't have as a kid, because I think you take a lot of things for granted whenever you grow up with some things, whereas other kids don't have those things. Because that's definitely something I've noticed, where just like, you know, eavesdropping on people's conversations and talking with people of like, oh, you had that, or oh, you didn't have to deal with XYZ. It's just been, it not only shows like the true scope of like the spectrum of what your life can be and what other people's lives have been. The one thing that has taken me aback is just the pure scope and variety of people's lives here.
Oh yeah.
And just the sheer number of people too. Like, it's so incomprehensible to really think there are this many people just at this campus, and this is only one school out of the thousands in the US, you know, and you get a real appreciation for just how much people's interests drive them to the places they go. And it also shows, I think, a little bit of, well, if this doesn't work out, there's more fish in the sea. There's more options for me to pursue. So I think the other thing that changed coming here is I'm not limited by like what my degree says. I would say I had an idea, like, yes, I understand that just because you're an engineer or a physicist doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go into those things per se, but the true degree to which that's true has expanded sevenfold coming here, because I hear about all these people, like students and employees alike and mentors and whatnot, where they say, oh yeah, I started out as this major, maybe I switched majors a few times, and then I went to this one company, then I switched companies to do something totally different, and yet it all makes sense somehow. And I think that has shaped my perspective on just because I plan on doing something doesn't mean I'm going to end up doing it. And even if I do end up doing that, my interests may very well change in 10, 15, 20 years. And that's okay, and that's super normal for that to happen. And that just comes with, you know, your life priorities changing. You know, maybe you need to have more money for your kids, or maybe you're comfortable enough so you can afford to take a pay cut to do something that you actually enjoy. So that's been changed. And I think coming here has also just shaped my perspective of myself as well, because I mean, I think high school was easy and MIT is very much not.
Yeah.
But I really think coming here and doing these classes and experiencing difficulties in classes and yet still coming out pretty well, I think has shown just how impressive the students are, even if they don't have the self-confidence or the foresight to know, okay, I'm going to do well in this because I just know my stuff. It's just been real eye-opening, because I think it's so easy to fall into the trap of, oh, I don't understand anything right now, I don't even want to touch this afterward. Whereas I think it's really important to expand your horizons and do things that you're not good at, because it's important that not only you know what your boundaries are, but, you know, just because on the surface it may seem like you don't know it, there may be a time where you see something in your work or in your project years down the line, and it goes back to that one class, and you realize, oh, I can actually do this. So I think I've just been impressed with just how much I can deal with at once. And while it hasn't been easy, I think it shows me, well, if I can do this, the real world's going to be like a breeze.
I feel like that's one of the biggest things I've learned from this school. Just like, you do things and you're like sometimes I'll look at something, I'm like, this is actually impossible. Like, no way I can finish like 3 exams this week, 5 P sets. like a coding assignment, a lab, a post lab, essay, and I'm like, this is actually not possible. But the thing is, like, you just make it on the other side. Like, you may not have done well on everything, but it's like you got through. And I think oftentimes, like, especially when you're younger, it's like if you were to see something like that, it's just like, I can't. It's too much. Like, it's not possible. But it's like you can just do things. Like, people, I feel like people don't actually realize that, like, they have the capabilities to do, like, basically, like, nearly insurmountable tasks. I mean, obviously, I don't mean like jumping off a building and flying, which they actually possibly could do. But I mean, like, in terms of like work, like, people don't realize that, like, you could go a whole month only sleeping like 4 hours a night, and you're still alive. Like, you'll still make it through. Like, I think a lot of times people make a lot of excuses, like, oh, I can't do this because, like, only like certain people could do this. But it's like, not really. Like, if you just tried it, you might be able to do something. You'll see.
Brittany, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So um, what else do you think changed from like when you first started coming here in terms of mindset, like when it comes to like doing work specifically?
Mindset in terms of doing work.
Or do you think it's like the same as it was in high school? So I imagine in high school you worked pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I guess I kind of worked hard a little bit here or there.
I just have I do different things now. Whenever I was in high school, the school was hard, but school was not hard, but the non-school stuff was very hard. I had to work pretty often. I had many times had sports morning and evening, so my days were just like, 6 a.m. wake up, go to school, do school from 8 to 4 or whatever, and then another sport afterward, and then work for a few hours. And then whenever I came home, I would have to help, like, care for my dad. So I think because I don't have to worry so much about, like, home life, right? But I just feel like the effort has been displaced by my academics now. And I think my mindset in high school was more of a how can I do everything as quickly as possible without sacrificing quality? Whereas I think now there's a much greater emphasis on, do I actually understand what I'm doing? And I'm much more willing to take a lot more time, not just to get, homeworks done and study for tests, but to actually have an understanding of what's going on, because ultimately your conceptual understanding is what's going to help you succeed. It's not unlike the school environment where it's very copy paste. If you can't look at a situation and intuitively know, for example, this beam is cantilevered, which basically means it's free hanging. That means that the max load is going to be at the base, and if the max load exceeds the load at the base, it's going to break. That's just like the conceptual understanding.
It's like a life theory, It's like you put too much on your shoulders and that's it.
Right. So I think just having a much better understanding of the concepts of what I'm learning is that much more important. And I think another thing that's changed is my mindset of how do I want to go about these things. I think there are different ways to get to the same spot, and finding the pathway that allows me to do the most of what I actually want to do and what I think will help me further my career later on it's been a journey so far, and I think it's only just starting. But I think my mindset of you can't only be doing school, you have to be doing other things, not only to relax your brain and not have you be doing like so much backbreaking things, but just as like a sanity check of, am I actually enjoying myself at this school, or am I just waiting for graduation kind of thing? And I think, as hard as MIT is, it's really the only time you have to explore
Oh, yeah.
before you have to go into the workforce and do something, 9 to 5
Yeah.
every week.
I feel like it's definitely a buffer period, like just college in general. It's like you don't have the full responsibilities of an adult, but like you get a taste of what the world is like. So you get the opportunity to like test run stuff. It's like, oh, maybe slapping that person the other day was a bad idea. Maybe I should do that in the future when I would get arrested and go to jail,
Mm-hmm.
You gotta test these things. Not saying that I did that, but, just like an opportunity to try new things.
Yeah, because I think it gives you an idea of, okay, I don't want to do this whenever I work, or I do want to do this whenever I work. And then based on that information, you can then consider, okay, how am I going to make this work? Because whenever you go to college, there are a lot fewer consequences, and there's a lot more helpful resources to you, whereas if you're an adult, consequences rack up very fast, and I think many people default to, you're an adult, you can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think it's valuable experience in college to be able to experiment with things, experiment with opportunities. Like, for example, I'm in a research project right now, which I haven't touched in like a month and a half.
Oh, yeah, I haven't heard you talking about that for a while.
And I've also been thinking, why do I not want to do this? Is it because I just don't like research, or is it just because I don't like the project? And then also on that same note is, if I don't like the project, then what project would I like?
Mm-hmm.
And so I then have to work off of that. But a perk of me having this now rather than later is because I'm able to more or less, like, I'm able to jump from spot to spot a lot more easily, because you're here to really experiment with your life. Whereas if I was doing this at some national lab, it would portray very poorly on me if I were to be dissatisfied this soon, and this much with the project. So I think that has been eye-opening in that it's helped me gauge what my interests actually are and what I actually want to do. And even just like talking with upperclassmen and other professors and things like that, of where they're coming from, and particularly in finding people that have similar life experience to what I think I would enjoy, has been really helpful. One of my lab instructors, she's very young. First of all, she has her own lab at MIT, which is impressive in and of itself. But once she graduated high school, graduated MIT. She went to industry for a few years, and then from industry she went to grad school, and then from grad school she went to postdoc work, and now she's a professor at MIT. But she did very similar projects to what I personally think I would really enjoy, and so I think she, going forward, is going to be a good resource for me to like ask questions of, why did you choose grad school? Why did you take a 5-year gap between graduation and grad school? So I think it's also important being here, because you're able to make connections with a lot more people, and you're able to gain a lot more because you're really young in your pathway right now, and you can afford to make some mistakes, whereas if you make mistakes after graduation, they cost a lot more. And so that's also been really helpful. And also with networking now, it's easier to get the things that you actually want later on. So, and I suck at networking. I'm so bad at it.
I'm gonna go on the LinkedIn grind this summer. Every person, man, LinkedIn's gonna be going crazy for me. I'm just gonna, every day, new person. That's my goal.
But yeah, just being more wise with how I spend my time, and not being mad at myself for spending a lot more time on one area, because I know that it's still going to be fruitful. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question for both of you. And so, if you could go back and tell yourself to change something about your high school life, what would you tell them, your younger self?
I don't know. I feel like it'd be hard to say, because I think a lot of the stuff I did in high school helped produce the character that I am today. and I think I needed MIT to make me grow like this. So like all the people I surround myself with, like you, Brittany, you, Jaden, or maybe whoever's behind the camera, who knows who it is. Who else? Aiden. Like these are like I think you three are probably the most people I spend my time with. Like just looking from where we were at freshman year to where we are now. Like I feel like we're like semi adults now. Like like I don't mean that in terms of like actual like life experience, but I mean that in terms of just like the way we think about the world. Like if you were to have the same conversation with us like freshman year in the fall, we would be saying some outlandish stuff, like actually ridiculous stuff. And the thing is like I think we just learn just like how life is, and I think that had been hard for me to comprehend in high school. Like if I told myself in high school like, oh, MIT is gonna be really hard, maybe you should consider going to a different school where you might be a little bit happier. My freshman self in high school would be like, I can handle difficult things. I'm super smart. I can figure anything out. Blah 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 blah. But then like here I am now. Like every day I'm just like this is so challenging. But at the same time it's like despite the fact that I complain like literally every second of the day and I'm always like in pain because I haven't gotten enough sleep, it's like I've learned that no matter what I just keep on pushing. I just keep on going through. And in the end, that's like a valuable skill to have. Like in the future, I'll be able to, when I need to get stuff done, I can get it done, which I don't think I would be able to learn without coming here. Yeah. I was going to say something else, but I completely forgot what it was. But that's all right.
I would probably say it's okay to challenge yourself a little bit more. I think...
And what you were doing in high school already?
Hear me out, okay? I think... I did do a lot of things in high school, but they were things that I knew I was already somewhat good at. And if I would have been more willing to do things that I'd never done before...
Oh, yeah. I actually really agree with that.
Or things that I knew I wasn't good at, but I knew that if I... because you can only get better at something if you do it, right? So I think if I wasn't so dismissive of, oh, I'm really bad at this, I'm never going to do this again. Like, for example, I suck at circuits, but I took a circuits class last semester because I knew as a mechanical engineer it's important to have at least some understanding of what circuits are.
So that about coding.
And what they do. Same thing with coding, too. Like, I'm not a Core 6.3 or a Core 6 of any kind, but it's important to have some experience, and you may not be the best at it. I'm not good at either of those things by any means, but...
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt you, just like real quick.
Yeah.
So on LinkedIn, I see people have mad skills listed. At what point can you list a skill that you have? Because like the thing is like I can code in Python. Like don't get me wrong, I can code in Python better than like at least 10% of the population. Probably more than that, right? But I can code in Python. But the thing is like I don't know like advanced algorithms. I don't know like dynamic programming. I could barely code Dijkstra's. I can barely do like any like effective search things, but like if given like a couple hours I could probably figure it out. But like I can't code like for an interview, let's say that. But I can code in Python. Like if I need to code something, I can. Can I put that on my LinkedIn? Like I can code in Python, but like I'm not like I'm no pro,
You should.
You should.
Okay, I'm gonna put that on assembly and C as well.
Yeah.
Cause like I can code, but just not like well. Okay, you can continue your spiel. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, because I think you learn the most lessons about yourself when doing difficult things and taking difficult classes. And I think I was too hung up in the I want to be the best at everything. I'm only going to do the things and improve in the areas that I know I'm already good at to some degree, as opposed to like going on a limb a little bit and doing something that I perhaps wouldn't have enjoyed as much, but I would have learned a lot more because I would have gained a lot more experience in stuff that is relevant now. One big example of that is not taking robotics in high school. We had a robotics class, or not class, we had a robotics club rather, and my boyfriend was a part of it. Well, he wasn't my boyfriend then, but he was my friend. But he tried to get me to join, but I knew that whatever electronic stuff, actually building things, making things from scratch, I had zero experience in, and I didn't really want to be exposed to that because I was worried of being the least, like the worst, basically. Like that's just the simplest way to put it. I was worried about being the worst, and it was a really big issue for me of, well, I don't want to be the worst and everything. I want to be the best and everything. But, you know, now being a mechanical engineer student here, it is so, I can see it with my own eyes. The people that had even a little bit of robotics experience can do things so much faster and so much easier and so much more impressively than I can. And while that's not inherently a bad thing, it's kind of like, well, dang, I wish I would have done at least something because I would be having a much easier time now. So that's like a really big example of me. If I had to go back, I would say, you know, do a few things that you may not be good at because you can only get better if you do those things. You can't, and you never know, maybe the skills you learn end up being applicable to other things later on.
I think it's kind of funny. Like earlier today, someone asked me like, what did you do in high school? And I started listing off all the stuff I did in high school. And like at a certain point, they were like, wait, this can't be. This kid actually was on the grind. And I sort of forgot that I was like that in high school. Like I was just like, I was actually grinding in high school. But you don't really realize it because you come here and you hear people like, oh, I won the chemistry Olympia and I still failed the ASE. And you're like, hold on. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? So it's just like you hear those things and you're just like, oh, I actually didn't do anything in high school. But the thing is like if you could make it here, like it's quite competitive to get here. And like I think like sometimes you forget to just give yourself a little pat on the back and to be like, you know, like I'm actually capable of doing pretty crazy things, despite the fact that like MIT's like the great equalizer or whatever. It makes everyone feel that's cap. Yes, I lied. If you did math competition, if you did math competition, you came here to this school to actually like it's. I don't even know why you're here, to be honest. Like, it's not like you're learning anything. Just relaxing. Might as well go on a vacation. You're actually just giving them free money. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. I can only imagine myself by the time I'm a senior. I'm like, I feel like I'll have grown like a nice long white beard. You know, I'll be going like this in my free time. And then the little kids will come to me during CPW. They'll be like, "How did you get to be so wise?" And I'd be like, "Oh, whoa. I was once a young lad like yourself, but now I've ascended to new levels. I have understanding of the world, you know."
So you're not gonna lie to the kids?
No, I'm not gonna lie to the kids. Someone reached out to me today on LinkedIn and said they want to like talk about like what it's like because they're gonna be a freshman here. Oh, I'm gonna tell them the truth.
No stone unturned.
No stone unturned. I mean, like the thing is like here's the thing. Whenever I tell people why I like this school, I always say like I like the people. But the thing is, there are people everywhere. So like I didn't have to come here to like people. Like the thing is like there's nothing about this school that I like has to do anything with the fact that I go to this school. It's like, oh, I've grown in my relationship with God, right? I could have done that at BU. I could have done that at Northeastern. But maybe there is some like implicit fact that because I went through like a lot of like difficulties at this school, like it made me continue to pursue my faith. But besides that fact, I still could have done that somewhere else, right? Like it's like, oh, I met a lot of great people. It's like, could have done that somewhere else too. So it's like, then what did you like about this school? Because like, it certainly wasn't the education. I mean, and it definitely wasn't like, well, I mean that's the whole point I came here, to get like a superior education. But it's like, if I went to like another school, I would learn all the same information with significantly less pain. Like quantum physics here is the exact same as quantum physics at Harvard, except the Harvard P-sets don't take you 30 hours. They only take you 5. So it's like you learn the same knowledge, maybe to a lesser... But the thing is, like, sometimes the work is so hard, I feel like I'm not learning anything at all. It's like I'm struggling so much that it's like I'm relying on so many other brains to help me do it, that the fraction of knowledge that I gained from like my segment of the information I gave in was like not substantial enough for me to understand the concept. Rather than if you'd given me like 5 easier conceptual questions I could solve on my own, it would have forced me to actually like think through all of the problems myself distinctively. But I don't know. I'm still learning. I still have to learn for the exams. So.
What do you think of the campus?
Oh, the campus is awful.
It sucks so
Everything
bad.
everything's under construction. There's no student center here. No place to hang out.
There's no green space.
There's no green space. I thought the buildings would be like super high tech. Like you could call Jarvis or something and he'd like pull up on you. But no, the building's pretty rustic, I'd say.
The Wi-Fi sucks.
The Wi-Fi almost never works. No, the Wi-Fi actually doesn't work.
That's not-
like
that's not
every
cap.
every single day. The Wi-Fi is just.
We go to a tech
not
school and the
functioning.
Wi-Fi is spottier than a cheetah. Like, what the heck?
That's crazy.
That's an interesting analogy that you just came up with. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. We were trying to play Fortnite on the PlayStation 5 that we got for our lounge. You can't. It just simply doesn't. It doesn't work. Um. Yeah, but yeah. That's all I was gonna say.
Unrelated, I went to BU campus like last week.
It was nice, right?
That campus is actually mad nice.
No, 'cause, like, my friend-
Why did I go? I was like, what?
My friends go to BU and they're like, oh, you know, it's not really that nice. It's just like one long street. I'm like, bro, you have restaurants. That's it. That's all. Like, that was my only thing I had to say. It's just like, we don't. There are none. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, if I can go to a restaurant within like a block of my dorm, I've already won. Like, I've already won. Because the thing is, the thing is, I could have gone to Cornell, but you know why I didn't go to Cornell, other than the fact they gave me no like financial aid, was that I was like, I don't want to be just in the grass with cows and there's like nothing else there. So I was like, I want to go to the city. Like, I don't really. I've been in the suburbs my whole life. I was like, I want to know what the city's like. You know, like, oh, I could walk one like couple steps down and there's like this thing, and then I can go here and there's this thing. And I was like, but you know, like, it may be too much of an adjustment. So, you know, like, MIT's a nice happy medium because it's like it's close enough to Boston. But the thing is, like, I can't remember the last time I went to Boston. Like, I just don't have time to be like, oh, you know, today I'm gonna go on an excursion. I'm gonna go head across the river and, you know, try new things. It's like, when am I gonna do that? It's like, I have a P set to do. I have to get this done. Like, I have to do all these different things. When I'm not doing those things, I'm trying to finish my habit tracker things for the day. I have to study my 30 minutes of Spanish and watch like an hour worth of lectures and read my book for an hour for a day. So it's like, okay, not heading down there. Or I have to go to the gym. Like, I like going to the gym. Used to go to the gym almost every day, but now it's like, you know, maybe I can, maybe I can't. Who knows, you know?
I mean, you know, there's funding for the school.
Where?
Maybe eventually the school will get better. In terms aesthetically.
Aesthetically.
I don't think so. There's no room for it to get better.
Because I looked at BU and like, they're making new buildings.
Yeah,
Their
they
buildings
are.
mad nice.
They are nice, yeah. Have you seen like their theater, their new theater?
No.
Oh.
I went to their data science building. And that thing was
Why were you
awesome.
there?
Why?
Why, yeah.
I was there. I was working doing P sets or something.
From BU?
No,
So why were you there?
I was doing P sets. They're like, yeah, you want
Why
to do
did you
P-set?
Why did
And
you
I'm like, yeah.
choose to go to BU
And
to
they're
do
like,
your
"You wanna
PSET?
go to BU?" I'm like, okay.
How'd you get in?
Oh, we knew a BU person.
Well, I know multiple BU
Then
people.
go.
Like, half
Go
my
there to
school
do
went to
work.
BU.
If you go there to do work, you'll increase your productivity by at least 30%.
You know, I might do that because like every week they're like, hey Ezekiel, we haven't seen you in like 2 years. Like, you want to come over here? I'm like, I don't got time. I just don't have time. They're like, no, just like, no, I don't. I actually just don't have time. I have a test like tomorrow, and I actually can't go. But maybe I could go study there.
Yeah, you take a bus and then just sit there for a few hours. In the building, I was astonished. I could not believe that colleges could look like that. And I was like,
And BU's
they
not
have
even
greenery too. I'm like, what?
BU's not even like the nicest campus
No.
like here. Like I don't even know what's going on. You know, as much.
Also, their dining hall was actually mad fire.
Really, you tried it?
Yes, I went to their dining hall. First of all, it's big. There's a lot of options.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
They have like a Chinese station, Spanish station, like the American station, like a whole bunch of stuff. And they had like, and obviously it's all you can eat. And the food was actually good. And I was like, what? Impossible.
Wait a
That's
second.
impossible.
Wait a second.
It's probably not. It's probably not good. It's just good compared to like what we have.
The thing is, like, when I came here and compared this food to high school food, I was like, bro, what is everyone complaining about? Like, the food is actually slaps. Like, compared to public high school food, it goes so hard. But then, like, you acclimate, right? So then like your baseline becomes the stuff. And then what happened was, like, it just got worse. I don't know when it, like, I think it's like last year, it's just like they gave up. Like they just gave up. So then like my baseline became like what the school food was. Then they went back down to like high school level food. I was just like, this is actually straight atrocious. Like, I can't believe this is what they're giving me right now. Things went back up to like normal this semester, but it's kind of crazy. But I do think I've learned a lot from this school. I don't think I've become that much, like, when I go home and compare my like intelligence to like the average Joe, like, I have gotten smarter. But like, I think what I've really gained here is wisdom. Like, I just feel wiser. Like, the way I look at the world is a little bit different. And the funny thing is too, as I said, like amongst the people I hang out with, like my friends, I feel like all of us have gotten a lot wiser than the average population at this school. Like I feel like most of the kids at this school are still children. Like I mean, like kindergartners. Like they didn't learn like the ABCs yet, like type like beat. I don't know what's like going on, but like some kids like actually like there's like a specific group that I'm thinking about that like actually have not grown up yet. And it like every time I'm just like near them, it bothers me because it's like I can't believe that you just like didn't leave elementary school yet. But I feel like I've grown up a lot, so I think that's an upside. But then it also makes me frustrated when people do things that I think that like a small child would not do.
Are they cracked though?
They're all cracked. They're all cracked. But the thing is though, like okay, there's like two different people who have not grown up yet. There's the supreme cracks, right? The people who are like actual geniuses. Like they came out the womb doing Einstein's relations, right? They were doing E equals MC squared. They were deriving it, right? Those are those kids, right? They didn't grow up because like you know it's the same thing as like pretty privilege. Like where like if you're like really really pretty, like you actually like you don't actually like you have the option to be like actually try, but you also have the option to just not do anything at all and like literally never use your brain ever until it decays and you still get whatever you want. But there's also like genius privilege, which is actually above pretty privilege if you really think about it, because you can get whatever you want simply because you can just like figure it out, right? Like he's like, oh, I want to do this, and I can just do it because like my brain power is actually infinite. There's no limit to it. So those people actually didn't grow up because like never once have they actually like struggled to like understand things because they're just like, oh, I'll just like figure it out. But the thing is, since all their brain power is located in the genius section of solving things, there's no brain power allocated to common sense. Right? So they didn't grow up simply because like, and the thing is like most people, what happens is like when they lack common sense, the world slaps you back. Right? You leave food on the floor and someone goes, hey, what the heck are you doing? Why are you leaving food on the floor? And then you feel really guilty. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, right? But when you have no brain power to that sense, like actually they don't even have that section of the brain. It was like when someone was doing the circuit design in there, right? They only put in like a CPU with like an arithmetic unit, right? It only does like straight calculations, but there's no like actual like there's no like anything else in there. There's no neural network, no neural engine in there. They didn't make those, right? So when someone goes, hey, what the heck? Why'd you leave that on the floor? And they'll just say like, because I was eating. And then they'll just leave, right? And then someone else has to go pick it up, right? So like what happens is that like it's not even that like they don't like it's like they're incapable of learning it because like when people tell them they don't realize that like it's like a threat. Like why did you leave it is like means for like I'm about to fight you, but they didn't comprehend that, right? But then there's the other side, right? And it's the people who are like, okay, at this school it's weird because like they're also cracked, but like these people like I guess they're closer to the pretty privileged side, but it's not even that. I don't want to label any groups of people because like I'm gonna get called out, but there's like another group of people that's on the opposite end of the genius spectrum. And they don't grow up, but it's like on purpose because they think it's like cool. It's like, oh, you know, like I'm in college, so like I can do whatever I want, and like there's no consequences for it right now. So I'm just gonna do whatever because it's the last time for me to have fun. And I also like really despise this mentality because, as I said, I think I've really moved towards the like I want to put myself in situations that lead me to become the person I want to be. Like no one ever is like in their 30s being like, oh, I wish I still was a frat bro. It's like no one ever thinks that. They think, oh, those were my foolish years, you know, when I was dumb and stupid. It's like you didn't have to do that. Like you could have reached where you were at 30 at 25 if you just started earlier. But people like waste so much time just doing stupid things. But they're like, oh, but like schoolwork is so hard, so we gotta party and have fun, you know. And it's just like, okay. Or you could just like grind it out, do things that actually push you forward in the future instead of just like, I don't know, wasting your time at parties trying to like die. Like, I don't know why like you're actively trying to die. They're like, oh, I'm not actually trying to die. I'm just trying to have fun. And it's like, okay, like I'm pretty sure you don't know what fun is. Like if you can't have fun without your brain actually being literally shut off, then there seems to be like some problem there, because I'm pretty sure it's possible to have fun by doing things that do not require you to literally have your brain completely incapacitated. But actually, I was gonna say that's my own personal opinion, but no, that's fact. I'm just spitting facts right now. Kids, don't do drugs.
I'd say that's right.
Unless they're prescribed.
Unless they're prescribed, yeah. And even then, like, minimizing the amount of like pills you take is probably a good idea, because like, you know, not great for your like liver and kidney. But if you need it, you definitely should take it. Yeah, we don't want anyone like eating peanuts and then having a allergic reaction, not taking their EpiPen out.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Wait, may I ask why you're wearing a 6'7" shirt when you're 9 years
I wanted the merch. Okay, leave me alone.
You fell for their traps. Every day in the emails like, please, we have so much left over. Please, anyone, please, it's free. Just come and take it.
Lily actually mentioned like your closet is gonna be all merch that you aren't even like a part of, and I'm like, you know what? I don't care.
You know what I'm most upset about? Like, this is the thing that really got me so upset. Was that the Course 8s all got brand new backpacks, and they're nice. They got like an infinity logo on it, and it goes like, and then like it goes into like an 8 and it says like physics, MIT physics on there, and I was like, oh, that's so clean. And I'm thinking to myself like, I'm a physics major, but I haven't declared it yet, and I'm not getting that backpack because they didn't have it last year, meaning that they probably never gonna have it again. This was like a one-time thing. They used their entire budget on this. Like that was the entire budget they had for the students. They used it on this, and I can't get it now. And I'm low-key upset because like I'm grinding in physics right now, and I can't get a free backpack. Then I think to myself, well, at least I'll get something from Course 6. Course 6 will never, ever give me anything. There's just too many students. And they actually, I feel like there's so many students to the point where it's just like, we're actually just numbers. Like, we're not people anymore. Like, at least in Course 8, when you go to your advisor, like, oh, hey, it's you. Like, the person I advise. Like, they know who you are. But, like, I feel like in Course 6, you go to the Course 6 undergraduate department, they're like, what are you, number 254? You're like, I guess so. They're like, oh, yeah. You had a request to change this thing. It's like, yeah, I'm failing this class. Oh, that sucks. And on your way. Like, it actually like means nothing to them. Just another interaction of the day.
No, I feel you on the backpack one because I see Mech-E backpacks every once in a while.
And like, where did they come from?
Yeah, because I want one so bad.
I want that Course 8 backpack. I need to let everybody know that I'm a Course 8 because like Course 8s are actually built different. I don't know how it happens. I'm not sure. No, they were all born this way. It's got to be. Like I don't understand. I don't understand how it, like people are actually different. I don't know.
They're not different. It's what they did in high school. They just had different selections.
No, because every time I hear people talk about stars and bars in the physics class, I get upset. 'Cause I don't know what stars and bars are.
I know what that is.
Oh, that's good for you. Because you were on the freaking quant website, go grinding like, oh, if I had to sum up eight using only numbers 0 through 9, how many different ways could you do that? And you're like, oh, 10 choose 2.
That's good. No, just take 6042.
6042.
We'll help you.
You know, I met someone who's a Core 16, and they were taking 6042. And I was like, why are you doing that? And they said, for fun.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because they got to do Unified, too.
Oh, they failed.
And they're like, oh, well, I'll just take 6042 and 6006. I was like, why? Because I can. It's crazy.
I mean, people do things just because. The thing is, with every class you take, you get a new skill set. And so.
It doesn't feel like that, though. Because sometimes I feel like I'm actually not learning anything until like, I talk to a normal person.
What about, like, what do you mean a normal person?
Like, I mean, like, when I go back and I go to, like, Vitamin Shop, and they're like, hey, what kind of protein you want? And I'm like, yeah, can I have the peanut butter protein? They're like, oh, yeah, sure. Hey, you in college? Like, yeah, I just came back. Oh, nice. Where'd you go? And I'm like, oh, school in Massachusetts. Oh, which one? Oh, I go to MIT. MIT! Oh, my gosh, you must be some straight genius. Like, what do you learn there? I'm like, oh, this basic stuff about, like, nanoelectronics. Oh, like, how does that work? I just, like, we talk about, like, semiconductor physics, like, junctions, like, voltage biases, simple stuff like that, lattice structures inside of semiconductors, quantum wells in 3 dimensions, the basic stuff. Whoa, that's like teleportation right there. Oh my gosh. And you're like, and then you think to yourself like, oh wow, I guess I did learn something. When I talk to people here, I'm like, oh yeah, like, I'm talking about like, junction biases, and then someone like Brittany who's a Mech-E is like, oh yeah, the MOSFETs. I learned that in my Mech-E class. And you're like, why did I even take this class then? I might as well have just taken the Mech-E version. I spent an entire semester talking about device physics, and apparently I could have learned it in 1 week. You're just like, I guess I didn't learn anything. So it just feels strange, cause like today someone was telling me about like what they do in microcontroller laboratory, right? And like they were going like crazy stuff. And like I'm over here like, and he's trying to be like, oh, like this is like some crazy stuff, and I'm like, no, that just makes sense. And like for the first time today, I was like, dang, why does that make sense? Like that doesn't actually like that shouldn't make sense to me. But like, I knew what he was talking about. I was like, oh yeah, you just test every rising edge, because like you can like test signals on like clock cycles and stuff. And I just like randomly know that. I'm not even taking 004 right now, so. Yeah, so only when I talk to like normal people do I actually like realize I learned something. When I talk to people here, they're like, oh yeah. Like, when I talk to other people, like, another guy, he's a sophomore. I'm talking to him about physics. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, like, if this guy's a sophomore, he's, like, he either hasn't taken 804 yet, or, like, he's taking it right now. I just haven't seen him in class. And then the person's just like, oh no, I already finished 806. And I'm like, you've been here for 4 semesters. 804 is the 4th physics class. How have you finished 806? And I'm like, oh, I just ASC'd out of the first 2. Like when I don't know, this is the crazy part. I went to physics advising the other day for the first time because I had to go to advising for my double major to get approved or whatever. And I went there and he said, can you tell me what classes you've taken? So I was like, I took 801, 802, 1801, 1802, right? And I was like listing off the rest of the classes. And he was like, wow. And I was like, wow, what? He's like, you're a rare breed. I'm like, what do you mean by that? He goes, you're the first person of the 30 people I advised today who actually took 801 and 802 and 1801 and 1802. And I was like, why am I here? Like, why would you, you tell me there's no other people in this, in all of the people you advised today, in physics, who have done 801, 802, 1801, 1802. He's like, no, everyone ASC'd out of it, and if they didn't ASC out of it, they took 801-2 or 802-2, and if they didn't do that, usually they've already done some lab work in like CERN and stuff, so we just like bypass the requirement for that. I'm like, they're the same age as me. I don't know when they had time to just learn all the content already. I'm like, what about the math ones? He's like, oh yeah, most people just don't even do that. He's like, back when I was an undergrad, that was way back then, I actually did take these classes too, so we can relate on that level. And I'm like, wow, I'm really relating with you right now.
Wow, man.
We're the same, just taking the baseline classes that everyone is supposed to take.
And like when you were talking about whenever you go back home, you said, I go to a school in Massachusetts, as opposed to immediately leading with like MIT. Because I do the exact same thing too, because I don't want to deal with the whole like, oh, you go to MIT, oh, that's so cool. And I'm just like, please shut up. Just leave me alone and let me buy my groceries in peace.
Yeah, like whenever I went back to my high school and the projector wasn't working, and they're like, don't you go to MIT? Why don't you fix it? I'm like, bro, you think they teach me how to fix a projector at MIT? All I've done is multivariable calculus for 3 years straight. I don't understand how to fix a projector or anything like that, so I don't know. They always talk about like mind in hand. I have yet to use anything but my brain. Like, when do I get to use my hands? Like, when can I actually like build something?
You picked the wrong major, bro.
There's no
You
way.
did pick the
This is
wrong
crazy.
major.
I
I'm
thought
so
when they said
sorry.
EE, they were talking about like building Iron Man suits, but apparently not. We just like look at circuits all the day. If I had known that, I would have done Mechie, because I was like, I don't want to be building cars, I want to be building computers. So I'm doing the EECS major, like computer engineering. But I have yet to build a computer yet, so I don't know what's going on.
Eventually.
Do you ever get comments whenever you go back home? Like if you tell
The
people
problem is
you're
that
from
Jane doesn't talk to
MIT?
people when he goes back home.
Correct. That's actually correct, yeah.
That's really unfortunate.
I don't talk to people either, but the thing is, like, usually I go places with my dad, and my dad's quite charismatic. So people talk to him, and then I'm usually just standing in the background, and then eventually they're like, oh, what are you doing there? And I'm like, oh, I'm this guy's son. I'm like, oh, cool.
Wow. Have you ever gotten a comment that like rubbed you the wrong way about like going to MIT? Like if you tell people you go to MIT and they just like say something that like irks you to your core.
Well, okay, every time I go to the dentist's office, every single time I go to the dentist's office, like literally every time, the dentist comes in and he's like, where do you go to school? And I'm like, okay, I know you have a lot of clients, but I know none of them go to MIT. So every time you come here and you ask me this, and I know he looks at my file beforehand, so I know he wrote it in there. So it's like, why are you asking this again? And he says the same thing every single time. So it's like, he's like, so where do you go? I'm like, I go to MIT. He's like, oh, right. I'm like, I saw you read the file beforehand. I know you saw that it said MIT on there. And he's like, oh, you must be a genius then. I'm like, you said this last time. And he's just like, and I'm like, you'd be surprised how many people are not geniuses at MIT, including me. And he's like, oh, well, how's it like to be surrounded by geniuses? And I'm like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, And I'm like, there are 3 types of people at this school. There are people who are just like super, super duper smart. And there are people who are smart but just stop trying. And then there's just everybody else. And they're just all struggling. And he's like, oh, nice. Yeah. And then he goes on like a little spiel like, oh, I was thinking about going to MIT back in the day, but yeah, I decided to become a dentist. And I'm like, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice to hear.
Could you elaborate on those 3 types of people that you mentioned? Because I don't think I know.
What do you mean? You think of people that don't fall into those 3 categories?
You said there's a struggling group, and then so like the struggling group are not smart, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that they're not smart, because everyone here is literally smart. Like, even the people who like just don't try are smart. And it's weird because like when I was in high school, I thought high school was gonna be like the movies, but the only thing that was actually like the movies was health class. Like health class was straight from the movies. They download the script and they just put it into high school. Whatever you think like high school health class looks like, that was what high school health class was in my school. But everything else was nothing like the movies. Like there was no like oh, there's the cheerleaders, there's the football players, then there's the nerdy kids, then there's the anime kids, and then there's the whatever else group of people there are, right? And then there's like the people who like sit in the corner and you get like a little bit scared of, right? That wasn't really like that at my school. It's just like everyone was like intermixed with different groups. Like obviously there was still like the popular kids and then everybody else, but there was no like, okay, this group is specifically popular, right? So I was like, okay, I guess this, like, the movies are just outdated. Like, when you watch Breakfast Club, it's like, okay, that's just, like, an outdated thing that happened, like, back in the past, the good old days. Or, I don't know, I wasn't there. But then I came here and realized that, no, there actually are these cliques. Like, if you go to any dining hall and look at how people group themselves together, it's actually straight from the movies. So, I don't know where I was going with this. What was I saying again? But anyways, yeah, it's grouped more than I expected it to be, right? But despite the fact they're all underlined, like normally in like the movies, it's like, okay, well, like the athletic people, like the jocks, right? They're both like the popular people, they're athletic, but they're also really stupid, right? But that's not the case here. They're also like pretty smart. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, they're also very, very smart. But they're still like how I would expect them to be in the movies. Same with like the like super nerdy kids. Yeah.
But then what's the struggling group?
Struggling group is like, okay, if MIT was a representation of the world, right? It's like let's say that the baseline level of intelligence of the world was MIT, right? So that means that like intelligence is not like a factor unless like you're super smart or like you're really stupid, right? But like the baseline level is like the average, because like like in the real world the baseline average is 100 IQ, but let's say like here the average IQ is like 120, right? Maybe 140. So like, what was your question again? I keep getting off track with stupid comments.
No, what is the struggling group?
Oh, the struggling group. The struggling group is just the average student. I think we've talked about this before. I think we said there was like 7 layers. I think we said this before. It was like not on the podcast, but like in like a private conversation. We said there's like 7 different layers of like genius here. Yeah, but I've forgotten what the 7 levels are now. But there's like 3 distinctive groups, and then amongst like the struggling group there are like sub tiers, and amongst like the really smart people there are like sub tiers. And then there's just like these people. But the thing is, like, people who are like not smart, it's not even that they're like not smart. It's like usually just from the sheer fact that they have like different priorities. They're like, I came to college like with certain priorities I want to get done, and it's not like academics is not like the first on my list, right? So it's just like they're not stupid. Like, I'm not saying that, but I think the struggling group is just like the normal people, like all the people anybody who did like Olympiad and ranked like in the top 3 nationally.
Oh, okay. That's
like a large portion.
That's like maybe 100 to 200 people.
100 to 200 people is like half our class.
No, it's a tenth of our class.
Yes.
Where you see them?
I feel like it's. Oh, I see them on Piazza.
I just finished the first one.
That actually gets, oh my, I hate when like you take an exam and as soon as the exam is over the person's like, it's like, excuse me, when's the next piece coming out? And also like, when's the grades coming out? Because I just need to get the grade out because I already know I passed, but like I need to know the grade now. And also when's the next test coming out? I'm ready to do that one. I'm like, no one asked you to give us this, but
Brittany, what's your perspective on what he just stated?
Oh, the Piazza stuff?
No,
Or the
the
stuff
three
before that.
groups.
Is it real or fake?
I think there's definitely like those that are just on another plane of existence. So that's one group. And then I think there's one group where they simply just don't care at all and they just are reaching for the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Or they're just trying to get expelled.
for that.
Yeah, like that guy.
I do agree that there are like sub tiers here and here, but I think everybody else is more so on the same level of they're just doing their best.
Yeah, that's
with
what I'm
what
saying.
They
Like,
have.
the average student here is just like trying their very hardest to do well, and but like they're like struggling because it's just not like it's not easy to actually learn some of the stuff. And I also feel like that the professors here don't always comprehend how difficult the topics are, because like they'll use the excuse like, oh, you're MIT students, but that actually doesn't like really mean anything. It's like, okay, sure, like I may have done a little bit more than like someone else who went to another college, but like my brain doesn't actually function any differently than everybody else's, so you're gonna have to explain to me how that works. But they're like, oh, we don't have time to do that because we have to cover like what normal colleges cover in one course like per semester. We have to cover 2 of those so that we can go to the next class. And it's like, okay, some things just aren't worth doing that for. Like if you have to take an extra like class, like, oh, but we have like a certain amount of requirements in our degree, so we can't add an extra class. And it's like, okay, well then take one out. It's like I don't know what the problem is. Like you don't need to cram 4 semesters of one topic into one class. But yes, I feel like a lot of people struggle, because even if you were like really smart in high school, that doesn't indicate like if you'll be successful here, because it's just like in high school you take an AP course, right? Like AP Physics C. That's the exact same as like 801. If you've taken AP Physics C, you know exactly how 801 is in at MIT for like most, like if you had like a more rigorous AP Physics C, right? But we had the whole year to do that. Well, for most people, they had like an entire school year to do that. But here it's like, okay, you got 3 months. Best of luck. And then there's also like some added stuff, like we didn't do the rocket equation in AP Physics C. Yeah, we didn't do like, and then like in E&M we didn't do light waves and stuff. So it's like you added those extra units on plus AP Physics C. Now it's crammed into like a 3-month semester, and now all of a sudden it's like much harder than it was before.
Yeah, I don't even think that's necessarily an only MIT problem. It's like every college, right? Every college is semester or trimester based, but regardless, you're still going to be learning a year's worth of material from high school in 3 months, 2 months.
Yeah, but I think like the problem is that like what at other colleges would be 1 semester of classes, like, or what here's 1 semester is usually 2 semesters at other colleges.
And I would agree with that too.
Because like, for example, if one class is a semester class, like a standard semester class in our college, MIT says, well, why can't we just do it in a quarter? So like, for example, 6100A is like principles of programming. At normal schools, that's a whole semester. Like you do that for the entire semester. But MIT is like, why would we waste your time? Why don't we just do it in a quarter, right? And you think to yourself, well, I go to MIT, which means that therefore I'm qualified to do it in a quarter. But if you've like never coded before and you go into that class, it's just like they're just chucking stuff at you, and like you're just like you're drowning because you're like, oh, I actually don't know how to do this. Like I've never even touched a keyboard before. I don't know how, like, what is Python? I thought it was a snake, and all of a sudden you're telling me that now I got to code a Python into Python. Like who thought of this? Like you don't know what's going on, and they just expect you to figure it out. And then after you get to a certain point, I feel like sophomore year is particularly hard, I think. Junior year is hard, I think, for a different reason, because I think like at that point you do like a lot of project-based, at least for EECS, a lot of project-based stuff in your junior, senior year. So that one's hard for different reasons, because like now it's like all this time I've been doing all this theoretical stuff, and now you're asking me to actually use my hands and not my brain, and like you're like, okay, I don't know how to do that. But I think like the first 2 years, it's just like there's like chucking stuff at you. Just like when I went to 803 from 802, that was not an okay transition, because it's like, oh well, you took 1803, right? You took 1802, right? You're like, yeah. They're like, so you should just understand the math now. It's like as if I just happen to know how linear algebra works in every possible way. It's like, no, I don't know how to do that. Like when you go to 804, they just like start using math, and like all you need is 1803. It's like, okay, this is not true. Like I don't, just because I took 1803 does not mean that like I can use infinite matrices to create eigenfunctions of like crazy like value things. Like, oh, we're gonna transfer this into K-space now, and then we're gonna transfer this back from a Fourier. You're like, you think we covered this in 1803? In 1803, they gave us a couple like take the integral of like, or like find the solution to like what's a classic one? X dot equals AX. Like you do that in 1803. And you're like, okay, I plug in e to the AX, solve for the exponent. Woohoo, we're done. But then you go to 804, and they're just like, no. That was trivial stuff. Now we're doing the real deal. And you're like at the end of 1803, we do the wave equation, right? But in 803, which is like a co-rec with 1803, that's what what you start with, like the wave equations. It's like all of a sudden you're doing partial differential equations. They're hard to solve. It's just like they expect that you just know how to do this. And all the math kids are like, I don't see the problem. This is all stuff I learned when I was in kindergarten. When I was back in Russia, my parents taught me partial differential equations when I was 5 years old after I became the #1 chess champion. And then after that, I won all the coding competitions in the entire world. And then I decided it was too easy, so I just learned violin. And once I learned violin and became the lead violinist in the Russian Symphony Orchestra, I just thought, what should I do with my life? And so I started my own company, just doing basic coding algorithms. And then now I'm here doing this stuff, and I just don't see why physics would be hard for anybody. And you're like, so how do you do question 1? They're like, well, what do you mean? You can't solve it? And then you're just like, thanks, man. You're like, how did you do on the test? They're like, oh, the last one? Oh, that was easy. The one where the average was a 30 out of 100? Oh, yeah. I scored way above average. I'm not sure why everyone scored so low. I thought we had plenty of time. I'm like, you mean the one where no one in the class finished? Oh, well, I finished. I got 100. And you're like, oh, that's great. That's great. That's why there's no curve on the test. And he's like, well, why would there be? I got 100. I don't need a curve. You're like, okay, buddy. That's great. That's great.
That's kind of funny. You wanna watch the videos?
Yeah, let's go see this.
Let's see the videos. Change the video.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kratos. My guy Kratos. In fact, I think I'm Kratos. I'm Kratos.
What?
what is going on?
This is 6 minutes long.
Yeah, maybe we won't watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
There's a couple other stories back earlier in the link, so maybe we'll read one of them and then head out.
Here we go.
I'll kill him! I'll kill him! I swear to God, I'll kill him! This is all his fault! This is all his fault! Chill! Get off of me! This is all your fault! All of it! So, how'd it go?
That's
Fuck
not
do
how
you
you
think
spell
it went?
Shakespeare.
All for that nigga piece, and he starts riding off! Like, damn! Just look at us! He turned Magnet into Two-Face. Not only did he kill Balder, but he paralyzed him from the neck down. Heimdall is dead, thank God! And Modi, oh my God. The hell happened to you?
I got stabbed in the neck.
What? No, nigga, no, your face. What happened to your face?
Oh, my face. Yeah, Dad did this to me. Oh shit, I forgot I killed you. Yeah, I bet. Hey, thank you for taking me away from my daughter.
Bro, you talking like you was different. How you gonna be in your child's life and they still end up fatherless?
I was planning on repairing that relationship with her, but no, you want to be a hater.
You said fuck me, and I was like cool. So now what's the problem?
Problem is, they call you all father, yet you got son by a dwarf.
That's kind of
Some
crazy.
respect for all fathers. You hear me?
Yo, buddy, listen, there's a time and a place for everything, alright? And right now is not the time to dick ride. So please shut the fuck up and go back to your corner, alright?
Hey, look, we've been through a lot, okay? And plus, you talking like you went through worse. All right, I want to hear what you went through.
A few moments later.
That's tough. That's tough.
Now, while you're watching that, I really want you to ask yourself, was that racist? Because to me, it seemed racially motivated. Bro, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Okay, we can pause. We can pause this. I feel like people don't get the reference unless they played God of War.
Oh, so this is from playing God of War.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never
Yeah.
seen.
You should watch the like the gameplay like not like the actual gameplay, but like the cinematic,
Oh, like the movie.
the movie things.
Yeah.
Yeah, God of War goes hard.
It does seem like it goes hard. So for people who watch God of War.
All right, let's go to the other links. Wait, go to like the links thing, like links on the side, the right side.
But what about like this? Oh, sure.
Blue Lock's biggest issue is its main character.
That's what are they
What
saying?
are they talking about right now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think like I've actually turned to Isagi like throughout this semester. Like I straight up just like absorb people now. Like if I just need the information, I just start just absorbing people.
Okay, here. So this is what. This is Blue Lock. Wait. Okay. Blue Lock's biggest issue is its main character. Okay, so apparently they say this is like the best sports anime in a long time, but there's one glaring issue.
Yeah.
It's not the bastardization of the sport of soccer.
Okay,
Who
hold on,
said
hold
that?
on.
Who
I
said
swear soccer is just like how they make it in the anime, right, Brittany? Like I
I
swear, like.
haven't watched the anime, so I have no.
Oh, why don't we play?
opinion.
Just play a quick clip like of
Oh,
like Baru, just like.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
it's not like Baru.
Oh my.
I
goodness.
feel like-
Nagi. Baru is so unclassy.
Well, I feel like he's the most accurate to what soccer's really like.
Baru? That's not. Have you seen Nagi?
Yeah, I've seen Nagi. I've seen the show.
No, you, oh, you're
Yeah.
Baru Blue Lock. What clip? Do you wanna
Just
watch?
whatever the shortest one is, just to give Brittany a little taste of
Short.
like
117.
yeah 117. Like I swear soccer is like this in real life.
こいつ一か八か俺のパスを直接奪いに来やがった轟けレッツゴー行くぞ下手くそ
I swear this is literally what soccer is in real life. I hope he reduces a supporting role. That's crazy.
So is that
Well,
what soccer's like?
I feel like that's exactly the same. I used to like listen. I used to play soccer back in the day. I swear that was just like what happened.
The only thing that's true to life is like the thinking process of, oh, is that pass gonna make it through or not? And
That's,
using
that's like
and
most of the
using
show.
decoy.
Using the decoy.
That happens.
Oh, so I don't know what this guy's talking. The writer obviously has never played soccer before. The writer's just been sitting at his desk going, "Oh, I think I've got a new article to write." Oh.
Okay, so let's see what they have to say though. Let's see what they have to say. This is a sports anime. Accuracy is irrelevant, especially when manga and soccer has been preceded by series like, oh, that show is mid. Okay, the game was fire though. It's definitely not the animation or design of the series. The anime looks great.
Okay.
It isn't even the edginess of the series. Like
Edginess. Have they not watched any other animes?
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about.
Edginess.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking
The
about.
whole monster inside of us thing.
I love that show.
They're making it sound way more cringe than.
Well, I mean, if you read any description of an anime and haven't watched it, you sound cringy.
That's true. That's true.
Like my
Even watching a clip without, the context makes it kind of cringe.
no, cause like my friend was talking about like a manga he was reading. I was like, bro, I can't believe you just said that out loud. Like, you can't be just admitting to the people that this is what you read. But like, I'm pretty sure if I read it myself, it'd probably be quite interesting. Like, if you start talking about love is war out of context, you sound stupid. You sound so stupid. But it's actually fairly accurate to real life, I feel like, for a lot of people. You tell me you don't play mental warfare with people? Okay, I guess it's me.
No.
That's crazy.
No, but they said the issue is instead one singular character, Isagi is a hater in their midst. He's a pretty easy character to figure out. He's the kind and motivated heart of the team. He's struggling with the idea of playing selfishly and having difficulty finding his footing, scoring goals in a place full of people more talented and malicious than him. I don't know if they watched the anime properly, actually.
Maybe they didn't have the subtitles on.
Oh, maybe not.
they just had the Japanese language going.
Yeah, they said this isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's a quintessential character type in sports anime.
Okay.
This is-
All
okay,
right.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, why isn't he special? Let's see.
He isn't. Okay, well, he's not. I guess.
Okay, he says and it's kind of
Yeah,
harsh.
He isn't anything special. Sometimes going this route works. Having
Isagi has absolutely nothing going up against him. We stick him next to the other side characters. Maybe that's the point of the show.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, there is. There's actually one. They did miss the point. They actually did miss the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the point is that like he's actually just like not like he doesn't have the same abilities as everybody else, but he like makes up for it through like sheer ingenuity
Yeah. And also his IQ is actually kind of high.
in the confines of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the confines of soccer.
No. Because like when they brought in like spoilers, when they brought in the professionals, they actually rolled him.
Bro, they play soccer for a living.
Yeah, but so is this guy.
This
He
guy
gave up his whole life.
He plays soccer after school for fun. Like, what do you want?
This is not after school. This he's in
He's in
training.
Blue Lock.
Yeah, he's in Blue Lock.
They've been playing soccer for like 10 years.
Yep.
Every day, all day for 16 hours a day. Like, no doubt.
Well, if he had high IQ in soccer, he'd beat them.
He does have high IQ in soccer relative to his peers.
To his peers, sure. But his peers are...
It's like saying, oh, like, yeah, you're cracked in high school, you're ranked 1, but if you were to go against an adult who's 30 years old been doing it in industry, you're gonna get rolled.
That's not true though, because some kids in high school could go up against like. The thing is like, I thought something. Wait, this is like a side note, but like you know what's like quite profound about like being a professional at something. Being a professional, like or like having credibility of what you do, that and like the fact that people buy your stuff is not indicator of the fact that you know more than other people. Like a high schooler could know more about like a certain topic than some 30-year-old multi-billionaire in that same topic, but the multi-billionaire is just better at marketing themselves and producing like information and product than the high school kid. So they're like more well recognized. Like you know how fast I could become a relationship expert? Like let me drop out now, give me 2 years at Harvard and I'll be the number one relationship expert in the entire world. Like all I need is 2 years. Because like what does it take? Like you listen to these relationship experts and they actually tell you nothing useful ever, right? But they're an expert because they market themselves that way. Like, oh, I went to a Harvard behavioral science department and I learned all the ways of behaviors. And they just start making up stuff. And then they go on like I don't know, the Good Morning America show, and all of a sudden they're like the number one expert in the entire world. They write a book about like, oh, did you know if you care about your partner's feelings, you can actually have a better relationship? And I was like, oh, whoa, that's some new information there. I didn't know that you could care about other people's feelings. Like I didn't realize that if you spend more time trying to lift someone up than I don't know, caring about yourself so often, maybe you could actually build like strong like relationships in your life. Like crazy stuff, you know. So, yeah.
I mean, you probably need relationship experience. That probably helps as well. No.
How many of these dating coaches online do you think have had a successful relationship?
Like 0.
Yeah. Have you seen those pickup artist videos?
Yeah.
Like they're so cringy, and gross. I don't understand how people pay for their courses. Like people go to like their seminars and they're like, please teach me the ways of the pickup artist. And they're like, okay. First thing you gotta do is you gotta stroll up, not too confidently, but like confidently enough. And then you want to ask something cool like, oh my gosh, your dress is so nice, I like it. And they're like, oh, this based off of behavioral science. What this is gonna do is actually it's gonna throw them off guard because they're not gonna expect you to compliment their dress. So what you're gonna do here is while they're stumbling in their brain, you're gonna go with like. Just making stuff up on the spot and they're selling it to like random people who are actually buying it. It's actually ridiculous. Anyways, what did they say about
I think
this?
what's extra funny is oftentimes those people aren't in relationships themselves.
Oh no, they're not. They're all
so it's like
they're all extremely creepy too. Like you look at them and like you get scared. You're like, I know if just like me as a dude, if that guy came up to me just to say hello, I'm running. I'm running. I'm like this guy is trying to kill me. It's over.
I don't know. I would not know. Anyway. So it says.
You wouldn't know.
That he has.
Is that what she just said?
Well, I wouldn't know what.
Know about what?
The topic. I don't know.
What topic?
Soccer or.
Or I thought you.
Actually, you know what soccer.
Yeah, I thought you played soccer.
Yeah. Because of Google.
You know why I quit soccer? Soccer moms. Man, those they play backseat gamers hard. Like they're just every second. Like you move to the left, they're like, hey, why are you moving to the left? It would have been more if you moved to the right by 5 more degrees. You would have had a more optimum. I'm like, bro, the ball is on the other side of the field. Why would I move to the other side? They're like, no. You see, and then they go to their parents. Oh, look at this kid. This kid, he has no idea what he's doing. He moved 5 degrees to the right. When my son would have obviously moved 5 degrees to the left because that's a more optimal. Because look, the ball's gonna curve around here, right? And then once the wind blows, it's gonna go right along here, and then he's gonna be set perfectly for the shot to make it into the goal. And then 2 seconds later, the ball goes the opposite direction, lands right at my feet. I kick it in, and they're like, oh, that was pure luck. Like, obviously, you could see from the way that the ball was spinning and at the degree that because the kid obviously kicked it at a 32-degree angle with exactly 45 velocity spin. And if we calculate I'm like, what are you guys doing right now? Like, what are you doing? So I quit soccer.
Is that true, Brittany? Does that happen?
The more, in my experience as a ref, the U10s and younger are like the parents in general, not just the moms, are so like monstrous. Like they will yell over every single little thing, and they're so hypocritical because if their little angel gets hurt, they have an entire fit, but they don't care if the same thing happens to somebody else's kid
I think it's
because
so funny
it's just shoulder to shoulder. Oh, and it's like, woman, the same thing happened to your kid. Why are you having a fit?
One time there was this one kid. This I'm not gonna say his name, but he was like he went to goalie camp. Oh, he's real special. He went to goalie camp. So he's like coach, put me in. I was in goalie camp. Like I got hands like boom, boom, boom. No, nothing's getting past me, bro. I swear to you, I went to goalie camp. His mom's like, yeah, he went to goalie camp. Like he's a professional now. Like he went to goalie camp. The coach's like, all right, I'll put you in, right? Some kid kicks the ball across the field. Bro tries to head the ball.
It goes over his head into the goal.
No, it knocks him out. And he's just on the ground crying. And I was like, why would you let him go in? Like, he got hurt. Like, that's not even fair. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Are you... I swear, it's just like, they're so annoying. Like, sometimes I played defense a lot, right? I was a good defender. Like, I'd be blocking everything, right? But no one cares about the defense. They always care about the strikers, right? So like I'd be holding the fort down. No one's getting past me, right? And they're like, oh, Ezekiel, you should be trying harder. You see, my son, he scored 2 goals this game. I'm like, what are you doing back there? Like, nothing. I'm like, my position is to defend. I don't shoot goals. Like, that's like the whole point of my position. If I wasn't there, the balls would be going to the goal. Like, oh, well, that's what the goalie's for. Bro, every time I go to get my orange slices, I'm always going to cost it. Like, oh, you could have done this a little bit. I'm like, I don't care. I actually don't care. So, yeah. That's why I stopped playing soccer. But maybe if I stuck through to, like, U12, maybe it'd been better. Then I would have gotten like a soccer scholarship and then played in Blue Lock. Or I could have stuck with swimming. Because if I kept my swimming route, I would have went on the Yale junior swim team. Then from there, I would have been like recruited to like, I don't know, the Olympics. Swam like a 2-second 400 meter, gotten a gold medal, and then I would have gotten a sponsorship from Nike, and I've been chilling. I get an injury, can't swim anymore, but I keep my sponsorships. You know how it is.
I see.
Anything
But they don't like
else?
Asagi.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But why though? That's my question. I actually don't
You know what I think?
Why?
I think that some people don't have the capabilities to process the depths of shows.
No.
Like people, what surprised me that sometimes people just watch shows for entertainment. Like I didn't realize that. Like whenever I watch a show, the first thing I do is like, what's the deeper meaning? Mostly because my parents trained me to do that because like they didn't want me just watching TV, which is like mindlessly. So I spent a lot of time, like every time I finish watching a show, parents are like, what did you learn from that show? So now I just like every time I watch something, I'm like, oh, I like that scene where they move the camera like this way, because when they move the camera this way, it's like an insinuation of like the characters. And I do that all the time. Like I just like do like mini analysis of like TV shows and movies and stuff like that. But a lot of people just watch and they're like, oh, that was a cool episode. And it's like, do you know why it was cool? No. So like this person, they're not comprehending the depths of Isagi's character. But like, I'm not arguing that Blue Lock's the best anime though.
No one. I don't think anyone claimed that.
Oh, actually, someone who's often on this podcast did claim that. In fact, that person might even be watching live right now. But that person is wrong. They're 100% wrong. But that's okay.
I wonder who claimed that. That's interesting.
Their name starts with J and ends with a P.
He's only watched one anime,
Yeah.
so that's why.
Yeah.
Anyway. So he has absolutely nothing going on when you stack him against us to a cast of side characters. We know that Isagi's biggest obstacle was a missed shot during a major game. This is what we keep coming back to as his motivation to score goals upon their own.
Okay, that's not his biggest motivation. That's like actually that's how the show started, but that doesn't mean it's his biggest like motivation.
They flash back to it sometimes, but like, let's say once or twice.
Okay, I'm done with this article. I don't.
You haven't even seen his point yet.
Oh, they're making a point.
Yes.
Oh,
So this is what
sorry.
we keep going back. However, when you stack him up against characters like Shiguri, screw Chi, that kid's actually a loser. No offense. No offense.
Oh yeah, Chicory.
Who has lost his love of soccer due to a major injury that literally altered his perception of himself.
Bro, this person grades this show like a college admissions officer. It's like, oh, sad story. Good.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, but what about Kunigami, who simply desires to make things a fair fight for everyone? That is actually what is that? What is that take? That's actually the worst take I've ever heard in my life. Make soccer fair for everyone. Okay.
This is why people didn't like the Mario movie. It's people like this.
Or Igarashi, who knows if he loses, he'll be forced to go back home to take over his family's temple and give up on his dreams.
I forgot that guy existed. I'm not even gonna lie.
That
He was
guy-
on like one episode of the show.
Like, Screw that kid. The kid was actually a menace. The kid was a menace and he was annoying. And he pointed out that this is what makes him special, and I guess the fact that he's bland. He's surrounded by extraordinary people and he's managing to hold his own and keep his spirits high. And that makes him even worse as a character. That's not how the world works, though.
Obviously, this person has not been to school.
Improve. Isagi seems stagnant.
Stagnant?
Because his core is in being a motivator and increasing his spatial awareness. This guy's actually different.
What was that whistle?
Wait, what? So he doesn't improve, is what they're saying.
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
So like, he wants him to do the cool tricks.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's not getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All
I
right.
think that's all we have to read about that, to be honest.
Yeah. Is there anything else in the links that's interesting before we end this off? Let's see. Click the links on the side. What does that say? Oh, no, we need to do this one. This will be the last one to end on. Yeah. What does it say?
No.
Dang, bro. Hold up.
75% of his body. That's you might
In
die
the
from that.
Burn unit for 6 months.
He's now unrecognizable.
Wait, how do you know that? Did it say that?
It says it right here.
Yes.
Oh, the camera's covering it.
What?
Okay,
Oh,
oh, yeah,
what?
yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's an avid football player, and he's gonna be in the burn unit for 6 months.
Oh my gosh, this is Darwinism at its finest. I'm sorry.
We don't know what happened.
I'm reading it right there.
No, we don't know what. Okay, we'll find out right now.
Sorry, man.
I mean, the weak get weeded out. You know, that's just how it is.
I was worried it was like an accident or something, but nah, this dude asked for it.
Okay, we'll find out. So he engaged in a TikTok.
That was his first mistake.
Well,
that was the first mistake.
There are many TikTok challenges that can go wrong by accident.
Like
Yeah.
no, because what okay, like what if we had a challenge called like read a book every day for a month challenge? I don't see how that could go wrong. Okay, it could go wrong on TikTok, but like I think you probably still be better off.
You need to read like Minecraft or something. Things go bad. Things can always go bad.
Okay, maybe reading books made you could read the wrong books.
You can read the wrong books, and then yeah. So involves spraying a highly inflammable paint, which is good,
Inflammable.
aerosol into a lighter when his family heard a big boom.
Okay, just before I know he's 16, but like aerosol in itself is flammable. It doesn't matter if the stuff inside is inflammable. The aerosol is the problem. Like if I spray an empty can with aerosol, you still go and boom.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was that he put the lighter too close to the thing though, because it ignited inside the thing, and then it went boom.
That must hurt so bad.
Burning is actually one of the worst ways to die. Like it's extremely excruciating. And the thing is, the recovery process is really bad too, because basically what happens is you have to peel all your skin off and then graft it back on.
Yeah.
And so like it's like every day, like they have to like come in and they have to like peel your skin off, and it's extreme because it burns so deeply that it's like your skin like melts into your body. So you have to like rip it off.
And it decays because it's necrotic tissue.
Yeah. So since it's dead, like basically your body starts to decay. So you have to peel it off so you don't die and
So
get
not only
infection.
do you have scars from the burns, you're also going to have scars from the skin grafts.
And it's
after the fact.
extremely painful. Like if you ever been to a burn unit, I haven't, but like I've like seen videos. Like it's just like people screaming. Like it's just like awful. Like it's like extremely painful because there's nothing you can do to numb it. Because like the pain's like in like you have to like numb the whole body, which would be like dangerous and whatever. It's really bad.
That makes sense.
I know they sometimes put them under comas to
Yeah.
help them cope with
Yeah, if
the-
it's really really bad, because like it's like so excruciating.
He jumped into a river to save himself.
Well, he was smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
He's lucky he had a river nearby.
Yeah, we
Yeah, well,
honestly,
actually, if he was in Boston,
Boston even okay
you can't stop and roll that.
No, you would drown though.
if you can't swim.
I guess. Anyway,
You probably can't swim either.
it's just he was set alight. Like I can't believe it, and he had surgery. The vast majority of his body. Is third degree better or worse than first?
Worse.
Third degree means that your pain receptors have been compromised. So
Well,
like
yeah,
first
it's
degree
burned through your nerves.
is the epidermis.
Oh.
Second degree is
So
the
worse,
is
really bad.
to
It's
the
really
dermis.
bad.
Third degree is to the pain receptors,
Yes,
which is
like your-
past your dermis.
Your nerves are fried. Like even if they graft it back on, you're still screwed.
Right.
Why are you screwed?
Because like you
You
can't
have no
grow back
feeling.
nerves.
So he can't feel anything on his skin?
I mean, you can feel. No, yeah, it's just done. Yeah.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
Wait. saw him when he first came in to what he looks like now, it's 100 times different.
What?
So they set up a GoFundMe to cover the medical bills.
On one hand, like I feel extremely bad. Like it's like
Yeah.
you don't want anyone to ever go through something as awful as that. But at the same time, it's like, dang, like they're really trying to take us now with TikTok, like society. Like TikTok is like actually trying to like end society, like permanently. I can't believe the amount of stupid things. Like, did you see the other day this guy? He basically saw another like I think like somebody approached this guy, and this guy was like, hey, like step back, and then this person stabbed this guy. And this guy, the bystander comes up with his phone. He's like, yo, I just watched someone die right now. Turns the camera around. He's like, look, he's bleeding out. Look, he's bleeding out. Yo, he's dying right now. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Like, he died right now. Didn't call the police. Didn't call for help. Just filming, watching this guy. And the guy's like, it's on the ground dying. He's like, yo, it's so crazy. I witnessed a death right now. And then the next day he posted a video being like, guys, like you guys misunderstood. Like I was trying to like document the event to make sure that like everyone knew what happened, so like we could like use it in a court case. Like I'm like, and then he proceeds. Then the next video he says like, guys, like human life doesn't matter unless it's my own. Blah blah blah. I'm like TikTok actually like has just like destroyed society. Like the first thing you thought was I could make a viral video right now instead of this guy's dying. I should call somebody for help.
That's insane.
That is insane.
What do you think about that, Bird?
About that
Yeah,
or
yeah.
that?
Both.
Yeah.
Well, that's stupid.
You can't blame him though.
Yes, I can.
Like, he's 16.
I can blame him.
Bro, I hate when people say that. It's like
16, bro.
like I don't understand people. It's like people are so like double standard with things. It's like you're 18 and you can do this, this, and that, but you can't. It's frowned upon to do this, this, and that. And it's just like when I was 16, I'm pretty sure I was able to use my brain. Like I wasn't spraying aerosol into a flame. Like that wasn't what I was doing when I was 16. When I was 16, I was studying for my SATs. I was scoring 1580s on Khan Academy's website. Like I wasn't doing this. I could, what he could have been doing? He could have been practicing football. You want to be a football star? Do you think football stars just appear out of nowhere? Nah, they're at the gym grinding every day. Footwork, catch, boom, boom, throw. Right. You could have been doing something with your life, but instead you were like, oh, I'm gonna make a TikTok video burning aerosol again. It's like, okay, like that's pretty stupid.
He was trying to make it.
Make it how?
Not to the hospital, but like, to.
No, because here's the thing, like, okay, maybe as a 16-year-old you don't understand this.
You don't.
But I feel like I would have understood this. Like, doing a TikTok challenge is not making you famous. Like, you have to make the TikTok challenge to be famous.
Yeah.
You can't just follow along what everyone else is doing and be like, oh, maybe this will make me go viral. It's like, your video might go viral of you getting 75% of your body third-degree burns. Sure, cool, buddy. But, like, after that, no one cares. Like, maybe if you had a fan base beforehand, it'd be okay. But, like, you can't just, like, whip it out and be like, oh, I'm going to be a sheep and everyone's going to follow me. It's like, nah, people follow the shepherd, not the sheep.
I see you.
Right.
So, I mean, now he knows.
Well, it's a little late for that. His life is actually permanently changed. Because the thing is, like, even if
I
they...
don't think that's fair. Like, you know, the fact you make one mistake and your life is permanently altered.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's just like the burden mentally on him must be like actually immeasurable.
I mean, he's definitely thinking, dang, I was so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah. Like the amount of regret must. Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is quite sad. I just be crying every day. Just like I actually ruined my entire life. All because I wanted one person or two people to notice me on TikTok. It's crazy.
It's okay though. Because now people know not to do what he did. And so hopefully the
They
challenge
should
ends
already
here.
know
The challenge-
that.
No, but they don't though.
Have you seen, like,
the
the-
challenge ends here?
There's just so many stupid ones. Have you seen like the train track challenge where people just like stand on train tracks and
I know
like,
people who did it, yeah.
you know, people who did it?
Oh, yeah. We were older than 16, for sure. It was. I mean, they got the pictures. So it was interesting to see.
And then people are bringing goats to prom now. Like,
The world's ending.
it might be ending now. This might be it. This might be it.
This will be the last days.
This could be it. Yeah. Dang.
You know, with that, I think
Yeah.
we're-
I think we could wrap this up. This was an interesting one. We gave a whole backstory on MIT life. And I want wait before we end this. Like, it's just like I don't think that like going to MIT was particularly a bad decision. Like, I mean, like most days I think it's very challenging. And like right now I'm extremely like tired of doing schoolwork, which happens once you're burned out and stuff. And I still have to do finals, which I really don't want to do. But at the same time, I do think I'm picking up valuable skills. I do think I'm getting wiser. I do think I do have more opportunities than maybe like the average college student. Like tomorrow I'm probably gonna email some professors to Europe, and these people are like doing research at the top of their field. They're like inventing new things. It's like if I get into the Europe, which like is not like an unfeasible thing to occur because like they often want students to join these things. It's like, oh, you get to work at research opportunities that you would have never had the opportunity to work at other places. And then like certain programs have allowed me to get internships that like I probably wouldn't have gotten if I probably would have gotten it, but it would have required more effort to get them if I went somewhere else. And because I go to MIT, that also opens me up to a network of other people who have shared the same struggles that I have at this school and relate to me. And I can email them on send them a message on LinkedIn and say, hey, me, you, same, brain, pain, equal, same, hook me up with a referral. And, you know, maybe I might not get a referral, but I might get some tips at least to get like a job that I would really like to get. So there are some good upsides to going to MIT. I think the best part was that I've gotten wiser, and I think because a lot of other people have gotten wiser, I surround myself with those people. It's just been nice to talk to those people and learn from them. So it's not like a complete awful experience, but most days it does feel pretty awful. Yeah, that's the end of the story. I guess that's true for anywhere, but I'm just saying this so that my parents aren't like, oh, here he goes again, complaining about the school. Oh my gosh, like, if you don't want to go here, you could just drop out now. And I'm like, oh, I could. Might be a good option.
Don't
but
tempt
like,
me.
but like, you know, I'm getting my ring next week, you know. Yeah. Well, I might as well wait one more week to get the ring. And then after that, they're giving me those cool, like, Patagonia jackets. Okay, another 8 months of my life to get
Patagonia jackets?
yeah they say like 2025 on them, so like you know,
Is it good?
oh, they're nice.
Where
They're
are
nice.
they?
Slide the link.
How are they selling them? I'm
They just like, you
confused.
know how we like get the ring, like in the beginning of next year they're gonna email us like, oh, what's your size and whatever, like, and you get them like around the same, like, no, they got them already. They got them back in like I've seen people in 2024 have them, so I presume they got them like April or maybe March, right? So like, what was that, another 8 months of my life down the drain. And then after that, it's just like, okay, well, I only have 1 more year left to get a degree, so, you know, might as well finish it from there. And then at that point, like, I never have to come back. I'm probably going to do an MEng. But then after that, it's just like, maybe I'll have a business up and running. If I actually do what I was saying at the beginning of the podcast and, like, grind and do the things that I want to do instead of and focus on becoming the person I want to be, you know, read a couple hundred more books, try a couple hundred more things, and maybe eventually that'll work out. Maybe I don't have to worry about, like, oh, I have to go find this job when I get out. I'll, like, really build something that I like, so... You know, I guess college is a learning experience in itself. MIT is a difficult but I think valuable experience. And I think most people who go to MIT realize that they can actually accomplish more than they would have suspected. Because I thought I hit my limit in high school. Like, I was playing in like 6 different bands. I was doing 8 AP courses or whatever, not per year, but I was doing college courses as well. I was class president. I was what else was I doing? Playing varsity tennis, whatever, doing all sorts of things. And I was like, this is it. Like, it can't get harder than this. But I've grinded harder at this school than I did in high school. And I realized, like, I can still keep going. And I guess that's a cool thing. So that's the moral of the story. Don't be afraid to put yourself in difficult situations. And if they are hard, you know, complain about it. Tell people that you're having a hard time, but don't give up. Just keep doing it. You'll learn valuable skills from it. But also, I think people forget, I'm going on a little ramble now, but, like, people often forget that sometimes it's good to give up. That's one of the biggest things I've learned at MIT. Like, you have to learn when to give up. Like, if you're working on a P set for 3 hours and you've got nothing done, just stop. Like, you're not going to figure out in the next 5 hours, not in the next 8 hours, not in the next 12 hours. You're not going to figure it out. Just stop and go ask someone for help. Like, okay, I'm stuck. I don't know how to do this. I'm going to need to get some help. So I think like you have to learn to like stop wasting time on like things that you don't know how to do, and learn to just like seek for help. And if it's something you really don't like to do and you really don't want to do and you don't think it's improving the person that you want to be and you think it's actively like making your life worse, then just stop doing it. Like there's no such thing as the sunk cost fallacy. Just like if something is worse for you and you continue doing it, it's just gonna continue getting worse. Like don't waste time watching a TV show that you started and it's bad. Just stop it. Like you're wasting your time. Like don't start reading a book and be, oh, this is bad, but I gotta finish it. You're wasting time. You could be doing stuff that are actually improving your life. Stop there. Don't like go start watching a movie and be like, oh, I'll just finish it. No, just stop. There's nothing wrong with like losing a little bit to gain a lot. So that's my little spiel. Like when things are hard, if you think it's being valuable for you, just keep pushing through, even if you don't like it. But if things are not working out, just stop while not even while you're ahead. Just stop, even if you've already sunk some stuff in, and just figure out what you can do that will make you the person that you want to be, and how you can set up goals that will let you get to that place. Just think something that Jane told me back in the day. So there you go. Brittany, any closing thoughts? Nice. All right. See you guys.
My
Bye.
bad.